All right, here's another important topic which for me personally I think is really important to mention and share with you, and it's about academic integrity. And as you can see, the old-fashioned way of writing things on the hand, things have moved way past beyond that, especially in the online world, in online learning. But I want you to not just point a finger and say, oh, don't cheat, but I want you to really understand why and how it's important. I assume when I get into my class, when I get to know you this semester, is that you all get an A. And I also expect that you all perform beyond expectations. Because just doing a checklist is just average. But I want you to do really well. I want you to perform exceedingly well, and I want you to be creative and really get the material. As long as you do the assignments, the work, come prepared, and work with us, most people should get an A. However, there are some situations where cheating, academic misconduct, plagiarism get into the way, and then we have to draw our consequences, and there's reasons why we do that. One really important part of this whole presentation, I want you to get out of it, is that because you're in a home environment and it's so easy to copy something from the internet, we want you to authenticate your work. So whatever you do, your streak for isolations, your dilutions, the mushrooms you collect, and everything else, all the assignments, we want you to authenticate to make sure that you actually do the work. All right? So authentication is one of the key messages of this work in different ways, as you can see, whether it's a video, whether it's using a UFID, whether it's a thumbprint or something else. We just want to make sure that the work you submit is actually done by you and you have done the work, so we can give you the grade and not somebody else. As I mentioned before in another video, is we don't have a lot of cookie cutter labs. Our labs are different. It's really about understanding, it's about getting the point, and it's about connecting it to the real world. So our labs, and especially the sections between the different classes, can be quite different depending on the TA. So they have some flexibility in terms of what they expect, their rubrics, their assignments. So again, don't use old exams or old electronic lab notebooks to submit, because they can really backfire to you. So again, do the work, make sure you understand what each TA wants from you and what their assignments mean and what they expect from you. We do put a lot of burden on you on the learning, because, again, learning is about you being in charge, you being the driver. You should be embracing the experience. We designed the experiments, we designed the labs so that they're fun, current, really easy to connect to what's happening in everyday life. And we want you to get skills, what all of you can use for your future careers. Whether you are in nursing, research, medicine, or in any other career, we want you to think back of microbiology labs that you have learned something that you can learn in your future. Again, it's not about memorizing things. This lab is quite unusual because you don't just have to memorize facts. You have to actually understand and get it. For all the different methods we teach you and all the calculations on, for the exams, we allow you a cheat sheet. You don't have to memorize everything, but you can write it down. But you have to, the artist, that you actually have to apply it. You have to understand, apply to real world examples, and that you can solve cases and you understand how the material relates to the problems we give to you. So again, think about it. It's really not about memorization, but it's really about understanding. All right, let's give it a minute on academic integrity. I'm sure you've all heard about it. You probably maybe did the assignment. We have at the beginning of the class, we have an assignment about academic integrity. And what I have learned over the years is that it's sort of like a little bit of an empty term. It's thrown at you, but a lot of students don't really understand what it means. What is academic integrity and how easily can it be breached? What we do and what UF has enabled, it is quite easy. If we find somebody cheating, submitting a previous electronic lab notebook or electronic work from somebody else, if there's any other case of cheating, we just fill out a little report and you report it through the Dean of Students office, and you get a conduct hearing. So for us, it is quite easy to submit a report on anybody cheating. However, that's really not the point. I don't like to do that way because it's the motive and the reason why I think adhering to academic conduct is really quite different. I think it is important to be ethically correct because of your future. If you cheat in my class, that's my class. It's a grade. It doesn't really matter. But if you're a physician in the future and you falsify something on a patient chart, or the patient dies because you did something wrong, that is a lot more impactful. And I want to avoid that. And I want you to think about what that means for your future. Okay, so it's not just about cheating in my class, but it's about your future, your ethics, and your career. All right, we've done a couple of studies in the past why students cheat, how they cheat, and what it means. And really what I learned from this whole process is that a lot of students don't really understand how easy it is to be trapped or to cheat without even knowing that they're cheating. So there are millions of ways of cheating, especially in the online environment where there's a lot more ways where you can cheat and get an unfair advantage. And it's really about eliminating unfair advantages of different people. So that's one thing. So cheating is an easy thing. And again, we as faculty have to really think about, how can I avoid that you cheat? Or if I give an online quiz, I know that you're sitting together and do the quiz together. So what can I do to improve my chances that you actually understand the material? So it's not just pointing fingers, again, what I said before, but it's really about teamwork. How can we both make sure that you learn and understand the material? All right. So again, the cheating part, there's so many ways to cheat. And I have talked to my students hours on end. And it's pretty impressive how creative students actually are in coming up with different ways of cheating. Again, the online environment doesn't always help. Why students cheat, that's a completely different story. There are lots of different reasons. A lot of students, if you have 1 or 2 jobs and you don't have enough to eat, you worry about other things, you do anything to get by. So it makes sense to some extent why people cheat. It's not the best way out, but there are different motives for cheating. And again, we try to make sure that everybody has integrity and does their own work. So again, the why students cheat is a huge book and a huge discussion by itself. Student comments after we did our survey is a lot of students weren't even aware that they were cheating. Maybe the faculty didn't spell it out correctly. Maybe it really wasn't clear. Maybe, you're in a sorority or fraternity and everybody has previous exams and you don't even know that it's an unfair advantage compared to other students on campus. So again, lots of different reasons why students are not even aware if they're cheating. Again, all right, so how can we prevent cheating? It's a two-way street. It's students' responsibility, but it's also the faculty's responsibility. And there are lots of ways where cheating can be prevented. And in our microbiology labs, we have definitely implemented a lot of methods where cheating is reduced. It's by different TAs having different assignments, different exams, different expectations, different rubrics. So again, make sure, don't submit anything from a previous lab where you don't know if it was a different TA who had different expectations. So keep an eye on things. Just to keep it out there. And just a couple of questions from our previous questionnaire is, most people take internet, copy and paste, or take things for assignments without citing it. And again, lack of citation, lack of acknowledgement where you get the resources from is just as much plagiarism as it is cheating on an exam as well. So plagiarism, cheating, there are different versions of violating academic integrity. And then here's one, what I always think, if I give an exam, a take-home exam, I know that students are sitting together, so it's my responsibility to make sure that they have different exams or different answers or something else so that they can't just, help each other quite freely. But again, I'm sure you've been at Europe for a couple of years, so you know what's going on, and you and your friends have definitely worked out a couple of ways to make the best out of it. But again, microbiology lab, we want to make sure we try to keep up academic integrity. I think it's really important. It's very important to me, and again, not just for my lab, but for your future careers. All right, academic integrity, cheating, again, it's a huge topic. There's lots of books written, papers written about it. And we know that it's a big issue. So don't want to belabor it. And what I really want to do is to make you aware. I want you to teach what is academic integrity or what is plagiarism. And there's a couple of tests, modules and activities what I want you to do, and you need to submit the reports for it. And then also look at the Orange Book. That's the UF Bible for academic integrity, and it talks about everything from plagiarism, patch writing, things you may not even have heard about, but there are lots of different ways of cheating which you may unconsciously do. So be aware, and let's make sure we all know about it before anybody's accused of cheating without even knowing about it. We don't want that. All right? Plagiarism is a big problem, and that's everything from patch writing to having somebody else write your work, copy and paste without citation. One thing for us to avoid plagiarism is we teach you, first of all, we use Turnitin, which is a software which is inbuilt in Canvas. So for each of the assignments you submit, we run it through a software that will tell us whether somebody else has submitted the same project before. So be careful. We check whether somebody else has submitted the work what you're submitting before. And then the other thing is we teach you how to cite properly. So we teach you how to use EndNote reference management software where you can cite. So if you're using information from another's report, from another paper, as long as it's cited properly, that's what all scientists do. You just need to do the right way and the easy way where you have a system to manage your references and cite it properly. All right, let's get back to authentication. So for each project, everything you submit online, all your strict for isolation, your enumeration, all the activities you do at home, we want you to make sure it is your work. And it can be everything as starting, from putting your name on a sheet of paper and submitting your work to your UFID, driver's license, anything that identifies you, your pet, your whatever, favorite something. But we want to make sure that you are the person doing the work. And again, it's a lot more difficult for us to make sure you do that in the online environment, because in the lab, I know what you've done, but in the online environment, we don't. So again, authentication is really key. And here's a couple of other examples from my students from last semester. Again, there's different ways of authentication. But again, everything you do has to be authenticated because we need to make sure you're actually doing the work. Another thing, one more word of caution is electronic lab notebooks. There's lots and lots of them out there on different servers. You can buy them, download them. Make sure that we had cases this semester where students submitted electronic lab notebooks from the in-person lab, and they're just really completely different. So that was just an easy bust, and they were reported to the Dean of Students' office. Just don't do that. Look at the instructions, look at what the TA wants. Most of it is not very hard, and you can do that during your class time as well. So again, pay attention. Don't do anything stupid because it just doesn't help. Again, we want to give you all an A, but if things like this happen, we just can't. All right, most people end up cheating because they're paying more attention to what they're missing rather than what they have. So again, I want you to be the best self you can be, and I want you to be proud of yourself and your work. Okay, again, my underlying mission here is that you have fun in microbiology lab, because we try to teach you some interesting skills and some interesting things that you can apply in the real world. All right, let's keep up the academic integrity, and I'm sure you'll all get a great grade in microbiology lab this semester. Thanks for listening.